and welcome to today's Rixo episode. So today on episode 28, we will be doing tons of topics. So, let's get straight into today's YouTube video for it. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is the race. You may be wondering, what is the race? The race has two teams. The Old Empire, the Green Team Puppet, Russia, Nordica, and Vietnam. They are on team 2. Team 1 is the black team with its strong forces. And number 2 is... Oh my gosh, my stomach's hurt. I mean, on Team 1, which we already know who is on Team 2, on Team 1, there's the black team, America, Germany, France and Italy. So, let's get straight into we already are in the episode, but let's now get and talk about the wars. Now, both of the alliances here, which I'll call for the Triangle Alliance, the Black Team's Alliance, and for I think it's a Rhombus. For the Rhombus Alliance, and their leader, the Old Empire, these two alliances actually are defensive alliances. So if one nation attacks the other, then they will have to go to war. However, there is something else that can happen. If the forces are very low and their capital is about to be taken, they can call in their alliance. So both alliances would be at war. But that won't happen in a while. You won't have to worry about that. But this country, aka Germany, have shown intentions that they're never gonna stop in Europe until it's all theirs. So, Germany, with its high-tech things, actually starts invading. Now, they do have black team tech. However, almost the whole entire world has black team tech. And why? Because in any war that was against the black team, even if they lost, soldiers still took black team's equipment, tested them, and made their own. versions and shared it across the world. So, countries like the old empire, Mexico, and probably even the newer China have these texts. And by the newer China, I mean South China, which is basically both governments. Anyways, besides that, their first capital is Tüken, aka the Norwegian capital, which is a loss. However, this country has 3 capitals. So, in order for an actual surrender, the black team would need to take over all 3 capitals. However, reinforcements have arrived, and that slows down the black team, but they're still able to capture major cities because they just did it. Anyways, troops do something that they were not expecting. They land right on the Karelian Peninsula. This is rather Karelia or Kola, because I'm pretty sure IRL Russia does have an area called Kola. I could be wrong, but yeah, the Kola Peninsula, I think. Anyways, reinforcements now have to go back, and that means that the black team can chase reinforcements until they die. So, they chase a lot of reinforcements, taking the second capital, actually, until all reinforcements, but not all of them, but most of the reinforcements are dead. And the reinforcements that aren't dead are already too far gone, so they couldn't be able to capture them. Anyways, these reinforcements, though, that are few to none, will come over there. However, by that time, it's already not too late, but almost too late, as they capture another major city and they siege the capital. And at this point, they need reinforcements to come. And the reinforcements finally do come, as they're able to cut off this whole entire area. Fueled with rage that their capital city might be gone, they sprint into this area. However, every single troop ran here, and there is troops still right here, so it's not like an easy walk in. However, the phrase is said, I'm saying it's not gonna be easy. However, I do want to say they are able to connect up with these forces. And they go over here to this major city, and the bloodiest battle happens. However, they barely are able to take it. With them winning that war, that gives them more motivation, and the other country no motivation. Well, every single force that's up here. Because the forces that literally were so angry about it, and they still are. And I mean, like, about the capital almost being taken, are still on a rampage, cutting it off again, taking this major city. And they still didn't know. However, they go forward, and they notice that there's a bunch of troops, and then they realize it. That city was taken. And that just makes the Finnish troops even more mad. Yeah, you thought I was gonna say hopeless. No, they're mad now. So mad that they actually, at this point, land their own invasion into Germany. So, they land right here. They get into Germany. And these forces almost take their capital city. But then that anger sparks across them, making them even more motivated to take over this. And every single troop heard about that. And Finland, that was a big mistake. Yeah, that leads to Finland's downfall. Because at that point, hearing that just made the Germans even angrier than they are, saying German curse words in their German language. And they cut off the third area from the rest of them. They eventually captured the major city, obliterating it, and forcing Finland into a peace treaty. Now let's see that peace treaty. Alright, this is the peace treaty. Germany gets most of the land, and he didn't puppet Nordica. Instead, he split Nordica up. And Germany thought that would be enough to cause chaos between them. And they left all of them in that alliance. However, that didn't cause chaos between them. It actually caused chaos for Germany, because every single hour they would message them, "We want our old land back! We want our old land back!" And it just gets so annoying for Germany. However, they kind of deserve that for destroying one of my favorite countries. Yeah, I did really like Nordica. I thought they were a nice addition to the country. Even though we had to remove 3 countries out of them, we got one big. And I really liked Nordica, which I already said. However, at this point, it has become 2064. And soon it will become 2066 in the series. Not like that's anything special in the series. Anyways, the next event of today's episode, since that kind of took up a lot of time of the episode, is gonna be about the old empire. So, what my mistake, I did not mean to do that. I didn't know. Anyways, the old empire is going to invade a country for a change. Now, there is a lot of countries that are allied with them. And there are also a lot of random countries that aren't allied with them. Well, not random countries, but that aren't other countries that they don't really like, which aren't in the alliance, but they are in the Black Team's alliance. That includes Germany. That includes, well, you know which country. I don't even have to say the name. Alright, anyway, and there's also America, which doesn't show any they aren't hostile to the Gold Empire. No one knows why, because they are an ally of the Black Team. America isn't really hostile with anyone at this current moment. So, no one knows why they are in their Black Team and not neutral like other countries. But America is going to invade, a country in North America. You see, they recently thought about joining the Triangle Alliance. And America cannot have another country joining the Triangle Alliance. So what they do is they try to get rid of them. And that country, my friends, is Canada. Well, this Canada. Not this Canada. This Canada. And, well, after the old empire lands in them, the other Canada thinks it's a perfect time to attack. Yeah, they attack. Anyways, troops all along their border attack. And this country already wants, well, there is areas that want to join Canada. Well, this Canada. So, once Canada invades, the areas that want to join Canada rebel away, which is all of these major cities. But that isn't the only area that wants to rebel away. There is also the country, well, not country, but this area also wants to join Canada. Because, well, this Canada has shown to be a little more hostile, so they could show that they would be a good fit for the Triangle Alliance. And Antarctica, well, not Antarctica, but this area straight up says no. What do I mean by this area says no? They simply just say, yeah, we're going over to this Canada. Because the government doesn't supply them with anything. And as soon as they actually get taken by Canada, they already 10 years. Yeah, this Canada is way better than the other Canada. So, this area actually has a lot of ice melt. Because, you want to know why? There's so much water at this point in the world that it doesn't even matter if ice melts that much. That's literally doing them a favor. However, they do know how much people do stuff, so they make sure the heat at summers will stay at 80 or 90 degrees. However, most of this area now has actual greenscapes. This isn't like the other ones. So they actually start building a major cities here. So the first major city that's built is right here. Then another one right here. And right here. And right here. And that just shows this Canadian government is way better to live in. So more areas start to rebel away. And also at this point, the Old Empire's land has not been big. They've also been doing the same stuff as Canada's doing, because the life quality rate in the Old Empire is basically 100. They are one of the best countries to live in at this time. So, they make sure every single person here has a house. And what do I mean by that? They give the homeless people literal shelters. Yes, you heard that right. Shelters to live in. However, these aren't like normal shelters. These shelters have furniture and TVs that would look like it would be in a millionaire's house. But the best part about it, that place would also, the rent, you may be wondering, since they know that they can't pay that much, the rent is only $1. So they give all of that for only $1. And now more people start thinking about moving to the Old Empire. Even though it's called the Old Empire, the price, the luxury of living is not old at all. And remember, the Old Empire's earliest forms and versions and stuff like that were in year 400. Yeah. So it really is an old empire. And civilization actually started in the Old Empire. The red team was in the Old Empire. The blue team was in the Old Empire. There was multiple countries that are in current day the Old Empire. So, the next thing is, at this point, residents here straight up say that they are this type of Canadian now, because there's two Canadas. But not all of them. Some still say that they are a part of their normal government that currently is collapsing. And those people are right here in this major city. And a little bit more land. They are the only countries that have put their foot down saying, no, we are not the other country. Anyways, they actually, for this, Canada makes a lot more cities in Canada, turning this Canada landscape into the Canada that we all know. Well, they turn it into from the Canada today. They turn it from the Canada here into the modern day USA quality of living. Yeah, they're now in the top 3. You want to know why? They make sure everyone survives. And there's major cities all over the place. Like, you can find major cities almost everywhere in Canada at this point. They're shining like a Christmas tree when you turn on dark mode. And the Old Empire also have put in some cities here. And speaking of dark mode, as soon as this war ends, which the war ends right now, because the capital was taken and the other Canada just takes this major city, let's actually see what dark mode would look like. So, I'm pulling up the color black, I'm increasing the brightness, and this is about what dark, actually no, the cities aren't there. So I'm gonna decrease the color a little, and it's not working that well. So I'm gonna set it down to a different color. 1. Nope, it does not work. And 0, it also doesn't work. Anyways, back to Greenland. I didn't really mention this, but this can not. Why? But this is not Canada. I mean Northern North America. That's what I like to call it. Has just gotten all of Greenland because all of the countries that used to form Greenland don't exist, or rather are very weakened. So they simply just take the land. And they actually have a project name for it. Project Take the Land. Yeah. They really want all of this. And within a matter of days, they take it all. And why do they want it? Oil supplies. And the newly founded discovery of they can burn snow to make global warming come up, but not too much high. So, they are able to get major cities here. And the quality of living in this country suddenly goes up. However, there are only 3 major cities in Greenland based off of the fact that Greenland is still very cold. So, that will be it for today, and I'll see y'all in the next episode. And also, I don't have any plan for an end credit scene, so this is actually the end.